everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new DC Film 7-inch scale Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice Superman figure from DC Collectibles. Now this is part of a new line of figures from DC Collectibles, and it comes packaged in a window box. You've got the figure clearly displayed. Down below you have the DC Films logo and the DC Collectibles logo. Off to the side you have the name of the character, and it tells us this is figure number 2 in the series. On the other side of the packaging we just have an image of the figure, and then on the back of the packaging we have a look at both of the figures in the first wave. So the armored Batman figure, which we took a look at the other day, and then this figure Superman. And then down below it tells us that the figure was sculpted by James Marsano. Alright, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging along with the other contents. Now first of all, you get a little instruction sheet that shows you how the accessories work, the heat vision that he comes with, how that works, and on the back side it shows you how the flight stand works. So for the flight stand, this is the exact same kind of stand that we saw with the armored Batman figure that I looked at earlier this week. You've got the clear plastic base, and you've got multiple holes throughout the base, so you can plug this arm into any of these holes. You've got a thick peg on the bottom here, and it'll just plug into any of them. Then you've got the 3 points of articulation, and these are done with screws, so you can tighten or loosen them however you want. You've got rotation at the bottom, and you've got the back and forth movement there. Then you have up and down movement at the midsection, and then you've got up and down movement at the top here with the clamp, and you can move the clamp back and forth as well. Now this clamp, just like with the armored Batman figure, is spring loaded, so you can kind of pull it open, but it's going to snap back shut just like that, so just be wary of that. Then you can basically have the figure basically put him in just a normal standing pose, and it holds the figure nice, or you can have him in flight poses with this. So the figure comes with 3 different pairs of hands. He comes with a pair of closed-fisted hands, and these are the ones that are attached to the figure when you first take it out of the packaging. Then he's got a pair of open hands, and then he's got a pair of hands, I call these kind of grabby hands. It looks like he's reaching out to grab something with the fingers are completely extended outwards. And I think the skin tone on all 3 of these pairs of hands is pretty decent. Switching out the hands is pretty easy. You just pop off the hand you want to replace, and you've got the peg on the arm and the hole in the hand, and then you just pop in the hand that you want to replace it with, and it should pop in there nice and tight. The figure comes with 2 different head sculpts. The first one, the one that's attached to the figure when you first take it out of the packaging, is the regular head. And I do have to say I'm a little disappointed in this one. I thought DC Collectibles could have done a little better job of capturing the actor's likeness with it. I don't think it's horrible, but like when you compare it next to the Mafex one, I think the Mafex one does a better job of capturing the actor's likeness. Now I do like the skin tone better on this DC Collectibles one. The Mafex one just looks too orange to me, but the overall likeness I think goes to Mafex in that regard. So the second head has holes in the eyes, and that's for the heat vision effect that the figure also comes with. So to switch out the head, you just pop it off, and it's attached with a ball joint, and then you just want to push on the second head. Now you might need to take a blow dryer to it the first time because it can be a little difficult to pop on, but once you get it on there it does fit nice and tight. Finally he comes with these 2 thin pieces of red plastic, almost looks like tiny pieces of Twizzler candy, and this is supposed to represent his heat vision. So the way this works is you'll notice there's this thicker end with these little pieces that stick out on the side, and those are supposed to be the ends that go into his eyes. Now this does not work very well on my figure. The eyes don't seem to be quite wide enough for these pieces to fit in there, and then the problem is because the plastic is so thin, when you try and push it in, the plastic just kind of bends, and you can see I've kind of stressed the plastic there at the end. If I keep doing it, eventually I think it's going to snap off, and I may honestly just cut those off, because really it almost works better if you just take the thin end and stick it in on that side and just push it into the hole like that, and I found that works much better than trying to get this wider side to get into the eyes. Now maybe it's just with mine, I don't know, but if you're having that difficulty, like I said, it may be easier just to stick the thinner in, and that's basically what I'm going to be doing. And then here he is with both of the pieces in his eyes. Now I managed to get this one in correctly, the wider end in his actual eye. So this one I've not been able to do. So again, I've got the thinner end stuck in there. But either way basically works. And while it can look funny from certain angles, I do think it's cool for photography purposes and stuff. So it's kind of a cool little feature that they've added. So for the rest of the figure, I think the sculpting comes off looking pretty good. He has a soft goods cape, and like with the armored Batman figure, this does have wire pieces that go down the side so that it'll help you pose it. The cape is also a little bit longer than the figure. I do think this one hangs better on the figure than the armored Batman figure cape does, so I like that. And I like the detailing on the cape. Again, for a soft goods cape, I think it actually looks pretty good on the figure. And then he's got the sculpting on the outfit, so you've got that texture look, and I like the metallic gold that they used on his S shield, and then you've got this metallic blue outline on it as well, which is cool, and then you've got that metallic blue kind of throughout here on his wrists and down on his side, and I think it picks up the light nicely. He's got metallic gold on his belt, so I think that looks good. So again, the overall sculpting on the rest of the figure I think is pretty good. Now, down here on his boots, I don't know if this is deliberate, but you've got this black wash effect, so it looks like, you know, he's been walking in the dirt or something. So this might be movie accurate depending on what point in the movie it is, but I actually think it would have been better if they did not include that. So if that is on purpose and not just like with my figure, I don't really like that black wash effect on his boots. And on the back of the figure, you have that metallic blue line work, which I think looks pretty good. It goes down the side of his leg as well. So again, I do like how that picks up the light and everything. So this figure stands at almost 7 inches exactly. Here's a comparison with the Mattel Multiverse 6-inch Dawn of Justice Superman figure and then the Mafex Dawn of Justice 6-inch Superman figure. And out of these three, I think I prefer overall the DC Collectibles one. As I mentioned before, I do prefer the face sculpt on the Mafex one, but I don't like the skin tone on it, and I think the cape hangs better on the DC Collectible version over the Mafex one. And here's a comparison with a couple other 7-inch Superman figures. So we've got the comic book New 52 Superman from DC Collectibles, and then the Christopher Reeve movie Superman figure from NECA Toys. And finally, here's a comparison with the new DC Film 7-inch armored Batman figure from DC Collectibles, and the scale between these two seems to be pretty good. Articulation, you can turn the head to the left and to the right. It's on that ball joint, so he can look down about that much, and he can look up about that much. It would be nice if you could get the head back a little bit more for flight poses. Arms attached with your standard ball hinge joint at the shoulder, so he can get his arm out good, and he's got good rotation. He's got that butterfly joint as well, so you get a little more movement there. He's got a bicep swivel, and then he's got a double hinged elbow, so good bending there at the elbow. He's got swivels at the wrist, and he's got the hinges on the hands, so he's got good up and down movement there with the hands. He's got a midsection joint, so he's got rotation there. Not really much in the way of crunch. He can look back a little bit there at the midsection, so that does help with flight poses a bit. Then he's got a waist swivel, so he can rotate about that much there at the waist. Legs are attached with ball joints, and then he's got that up high inner joint there as well, so you've got some rotation, a thigh rotation really up high there. And then he can also pull the legs down a bit to get more movement there. He can get his leg forward good, and he can do his leg out and back. Then he's got a double jointed knee, so good bending there at the knee. And then he's got the hinges on the feet, so good up and down movement, and he's got rotation, and really doesn't have much in the way of ankle pivot. You can pivot it a little bit, but not too much. And then no peg holes on the bottom of the feet. So that's my review. So overall, I like this figure. I do think the face sculpt could be a little bit better than what it is, but otherwise I think this is a pretty solid figure. I like how the cape hangs on it, and the overall paint applications are pretty decent, though I don't like that black wash on the boots of my figure. I think it would have been better if they had left that off. But otherwise, like I said, I think it's a pretty solid figure with the paint applications, and if you're a fan of the Dawn of Justice Superman, then I think this is one you'll want to add to your collection. Now this figure will be available at comic and specialty shops in December. I don't have an exact ship date, but they've started to hit in limited numbers overseas, but definitely they should start hitting comic shops next month. We'll have a full image gallery up at toynewseye.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment, let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, if you haven't already, please follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I'll have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, I'll catch you later.